Hi and happy Mother's Day. Hopefully all of you are either with your mother or with your children or both if you're fortunate to do so. I've had a great Mother's Day with my mom and family and took a little break to come do this and then we'll go back to it. Anyway, assuming that most of you or maybe no one is watching live because I think that's probably, if you have family around, that's what you should be doing, and this is going to be recording. I'm going to jump right into explaining the Sticks lesson PowerPoint downloads that were part of this lesson, and once you see one model of how you walk through it, then you can use that same model as your guide for the rest of them that come along. So the end of the year, May and June, are, as we all know, if your school year is a doesn't go year-round. I think that's a whole nother scenario if it's a year-round school. But every time we get close to a break, whether it be winter break or summer break, the kids and the teachers, all of us, it's like we get antsier, wigglier, we need more things to keep everybody engaged and busy. So I save some certain things always for the end of the year that are maybe a little bit out of the ordinary. That's why I talked about the high school musician, guest artist, or other types of special treats like that. And I try to keep the kids moving. So the Sticks games are just a portion of the games that I use. I use all kinds of people's different tutorials, but those games are some tried and true over the years. And I was able to, because they were simple songs of so, mi, so, la, mi, or do, re, mi songs, they were very easy to take them to another level and keep the kids engaged. So the whole way that the Sticks sequence works, and let's see if I can get my hands on it, yes. So when I'm talking about Sticks, I'm talking about this book, which is published by Shawnee Press, Hal Leonard, and the lessons from the month of May are excerpts from this book. So if this is something that you like, there's 16 in this book. They are appropriate for K through 3, most definitely the standards that are listed in the back, because it has the Common Core Math standards listed in the back pages exactly of what are addressed in this, incorporated in these lessons in the book. Then, and some of the games work for the older ages as well, but they are designed mostly for the lower elementary, which is what Teaching with Freddy the Frog is really focused on, is K through 3, kind of my favorite. And typically whatever I do with kindergarten works with preschool with very little adaptation, simplifying it just a little bit, not going quite as far. And you'll notice that in my lessons, if you've been implementing them, that you probably didn't get all the way through them, or you kind of had to stop early, because every class is different and where their levels are. So the lessons, the PowerPoints that were free downloads are also available on the CD-ROM, and those PowerPoints, there's a PowerPoint steps or slides that go with every single lesson in here. And you know, obviously because this is the Sticks book and it's out there and it's published by somebody else, I cannot, you know, give all the lessons for free. Sorry about that, but they own it. But I can do samplings of those, and so May is a sampling of those. Anything I can do to keep the kids moving and then engage their brains to keep those wheels turning and then get moving again. It's the time that I love to do the New England folk dancing folk songs, and we're up and going. Anytime we can go outside and do those and then come back in, I try to do that. Another favorite one that I love is this one by Cheryl Lavender. It just came out last summer. I absolutely love this book, Around the World. This is where when you, at the beginning of each class, when we sing Hello Freddie, by, you know, for kindergarten and preschool and probably first grade, it is part of their rhythm. Freddie is real in their minds. They have to sing Freddie's Hello song or else he's going to be upset. Second and third grade, we've kind of moved beyond that a little bit, and I start to mix it up, especially halfway through the year. Instead of singing Freddie's Hello song every time, we'll learn a new song, and I try to do one that can turn into a round just to help them get ready for part singing. It's very, for step of part singing, or an easy way to do it, And it typically includes movement. So all of these rounds include movement as well as the rounds, as well as strategies in the beginning that I absolutely love. You know, if your kids are having trouble with doing a round, and there are so many creative steps that Cheryl has included in the beginning that apply to any round out there that you find. So these two resources I love to pull out and use at the end of the year. Just because they're so engaging, and it gives them something fresh and new. And those songs can be performance songs as well. Okay, so now, how does the sticks sequence work? And hey, well, welcome. I expected not to have anybody on board on Mother's Day, so great. So certainly. Where do you get your folk song materials from? Is there a good book out there that describes good American folk songs with dances? Yes, 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 yes. My absolute all-time favorite is the New England Dancing Masters books. And my favorite collection, if you don't have any of them, is to start with Down in the Valley. That's a book and song. I don't think I have that at my fingertips. I do have the CD. Definitely get the CD as well as the book. They kind of look like this. They're all gray and they have a picture. They look kind of plain Jane, but they are golden. The recordings are incredible because they're authentic. The group that does this, that's what they do all the time. They do authentic New England folk dancing and travel and do it in communities. They're legit. They live in Brattleboro, Vermont. Great people. So my first one that I love to start with is the Jump Jim Joe book because it has some really great first-time folk dancing. Bobalinka, which if I've been to any of your sessions, if you've been to one of my sessions, wherever I've been, I typically always include Bobalinka. I include Bulldog. I usually Down in the Valley is one. The Grand Old Duke of York. And boy, I go to town with these. And the recordings, the kids just can feel the energy and their authentic music, and they're just great. So that's my number one. Round the World is another one that I've fallen in love with. And really, if you have those, you have a nice, solid collection that's very useful and you can use throughout the year. And I always did those. So those are a great place to get the New England Folk Dancing Masters sets. And they have several books out. So I put those in. All right, so into the sticks lesson. Here's how the sticks lessons work. The sticks lessons are, throughout the year, ideally, you would be playing the games that are in the sticks book, with the kids not knowing that it ties into anything else except Freddie wants to play a game and you're having fun. And they're all great fun games. Some work better with upper levels and some work better with the kindergarten. Snail is definitely a kindergarten one, maybe first grade, definitely preschool. And then some of them are, they need to be the second and the third graders, and some work for all of them. The ones that I included in the May lessons to get you started were Engine, Choo Choo Train, Apple Tree, which if you've attended any of my sessions, we've probably done Apple Tree, and we've probably done We Are Playing in the Forest. So those are the four. I'm focusing on We Are Playing in the Forest, Engine, and what was it? Apple Tree for the second and third graders, and I use Choo Choo Train and Engine for the kindergarten and first grade. So those are kind of my focus. So I'm going to start with using Engine because it will work on the lower end and on the upper end of those grade levels. And then with the younger kids, you're only going to take it so far. And with the older kids, you can go even further. So I'm going to walk you right through one of those stick lessons of how I would do that, how I use it, and then you can apply the same principles to the other stick lessons. So I'm going to switch to screen share. And we'll get out Engine. There is. All right, let's make sure you can see it. Now, something different that I did with the Engine slides that I created as a download for you versus the ones that are in the book is I added additional steps. So if you are actually part of the LilyPad membership and you downloaded these slides, you have more than if you just buy the book. And you can actually, if you have the Sticks book, you're going to probably want to take some of these slides and put it in with the ones that came with the book. That probably sounded confusing, so I will point that out as we go. I made the light blue slides are only for your eyes to help guide you, and the dark blue slides are to show the kids. So engine, here we go. First of all, because Common Core is something on a lot of people's minds right now, I included in this slide the Common Core standards that are touched on in this lesson and included. In the downloadable lesson plan, it will have the specific code, which you will be getting later this or Monday morning. The Sticks sequence. This applies to all of the Sticks games. So number one, you play the game in a prior class sometime throughout the year. If you are brand new to this, you haven't cracked open that book, or you're just using the downloads that I'm giving you, well, then we're going to start fresh right here, which is why in the lesson plan 60, I used it as a Sticks introduction. We played several games and had fun, and then we set up how to make stick rhythm patterns in case that's something new to you and your kids. Then they need to have that prior knowledge as well as the Mysterious Wahoo story, which really helps, and the magnet board. So that's spelled out in lesson 60, so I'm not going to take time to go through that right now, unless somebody has questions that they can certainly ask. All right, next, when you're to incorporate Common Core math, the easiest way to go through that is to ask questions. And the reason that the questions are so important is that part of the Common Core is the critical thinking that you are building into your lessons, the critical thinking to elicit that from your students. So questions are the easiest way to do that, questions and manipulatives. And so these are some of the questions that we will use. You don't need to remember these or write them down right now because I built them into the slides for the purpose of what you have. So they're in the slides that you downloaded. Here's some more of those questions, and now we're ready to tell our kids what to do. So the first thing is they would see this slide up in front of them. If you don't have a way to project something, and in fact, I was traveling between 5 buildings, so for years I was drawing this by hand on every chalkboard that I walked into. I was not using a projectable version until the last couple of years. So this is very doable by hand as well as by PowerPoint or Smartboard or Promethean. So this would be the first thing they would see. And if this is their first time ever to do a mystery song, I have to explain that we need to do this. After they sing the Freddy song, please go to your seat and then chant the rhythm of the mystery song inside your head. Shh, don't let anyone hear. If you can solve the mystery, we get to play the game, but you have to figure it out in your head. Now this is creating ideation skills, independence, and teamwork at the same time. So I give them a little bit of time to do that, kind of go through it in my own head, and then who can chant box 1 by yourself? Now this is the perfect opportunity for one of your lower achieving kids typically, because this is so easy for all the kids to be able to do. If you've done your job well, this is easy stuff. So I try to find somebody who typically doesn't get called on or might typically struggle, but I feel like they could be a success doing this, and it means the world to them. So then I ask them to chant box 1. I praise them, what a great job, and I ask the class if they can chant box 1 like so-and-so did, Joe or Jim or whomever. So we do that. Then I ask who can chant box 2 by himself. Now you get the pattern. So I try to pick other kids, keep moving around the room. We chant box 2. Then we chant box 3 by yourself. Then I ask somebody if they can chant box 4. We follow that pattern. And then before we go any further, I ask the question, Oh, I didn't put that in here. Sorry about that. But this is a good time to ask, do you see any boxes that are the same? And of course, they're going to want to say it out loud. So instead, before saying it out loud, in your hands in front of your chest, put the number of one of the boxes on one hand and put the number of another box on your other hand. And so then I look around the room and I see that probably everybody has, like, one hand is holding up one finger and the other hand's holding up 3 fingers, or the number 2, whatever. And so, okay, great. Then I ask the question, do you see any boxes that are different? And then, of course, everybody will put up number 4 in one hand and then one of the other boxes with that. All right, so we have a great little time to get them zeroed in and focused on comparing same and different, which again is a common core thing. And it also is great breaking it down for reading music and finding the patterns. Everyone chant the rhythm of the song beginning in box 1. So we go all the way through, and at this point I have not chanted anything. This has all been student chanted, student modeled, and everybody echoing the student. That's really important. Here's my questions. The boxes are number 1 through 4, which are the same. Thought it was in there. Which boxes are different? And then we want to talk about how are they different. So I put this back up in front of them, and I want the students to describe and discuss how they are different. The reason this is important is, again, it's part of the collaboration that you're building into your room. It's part of the critical thinking you're building into your room. It's part of the conversation and creating critical arguments in the mathematical way. It's one of the math practices of how to compare, contrast, and look at something and have a discussion about how it's the same and different. It's one of those beginning steps. So I want them to be able to describe it and articulate it using rhythm words, music words, and whatever. Then I go to who can sing the melody of box 1. Now this is a little bit tougher question. So especially, well, it really depends on your class and where you're at. If this is something you've been doing all year and your kids are very comfortable with this, well, of course it's not. But it's not as easy as chanting the rhythm. So I'm going to be a little more selective about who I choose to be able to sing this box 1. Before I give them a minute to think of it in their head, if somebody raises their hand, then we listen to them sing box 1. If this is a first-time experience of seeing this, then I just simply say, you see the S under the first 2 notes? That stands for so. And the next 2 notes, it goes down. So does anybody know what that would be? Now we've had enough prior experiences that they will know. Who can sing the melody of box 2? Sorry. They will know that that should be a M or a me. If this is brand new, then I'm probably going to skip this, go to where I have all the letters in and help them figure this out, or all the letters of the first box. Sorry, I got the Q and A got a little strange on the side, so it distracted me. All right, so we have, I tell them so, and if it goes down, what it would be, boys and girls, and my kids would say me. All right, me. All right, then what is it? And they would tell me so, and what's the last one? So. Right, who can sing box 1 now? And without putting the letters in, now that one child would raise her hand, so, me, so. Wonderful. Who can sing box 2? And we keep walking through them, going 2, then 3, then 4, and now, because we had that dialogue about focusing on what was the same and different, we can come back to that and talk about box 4, and then we ask everyone sing the melody of the song beginning in box 1. And I add all the letters since they have solved that part. Now before I go on from here, you're going to have times that the first child that was in box 1 will sing the right syllables, but their voice, their melodic direction will be opposite. So instead of singing so, so, me, so, 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 they will sing so, so, me, so, so, so. When that happens, I treat it as a game and pull them in like a team. I'll say, oh, Julie, that was so good. You got the syllables just right. Okay, now look at the class. Julie got the syllables right. Who can figure out what the melody should sound like? She has the syllables right, but the melody was not quite right. Who can figure that out? And I keep leading the class until somebody finally goes, so, so, me, so, so, so. Well, sometimes I'll have a class that they just get stuck doing it the opposite way and they just can't get past that. And that's my exception where I'll step in and I'll just go, okay, here it is. So, so, me, so, so, so. The light bulb goes on. Now they're set. It's in their ear. And then we move to box 2. So just a side note of how I handle that, because it will happen to you. Okay, so now we have, back up. Can anyone guess the name of the mystery song? Now they're going to be a little lost. They've been focusing so much on the rhythm. They've been focusing so much on the melody, what syllables to sing. They probably almost forgot that they were trying to figure out there was a song. So I show this to them again. We sing it one more time. And if they're still stumped, then I say, okay, I'll sing it once, see if you can hear it. And then I remove the syllables and go all the way through the piece. And then until somebody goes, oh, engine, yay! Now we get to play the game. And depending on my class, depending on the time I have, depending on, you know, whatever, I either move into using the sticks on the floor, or I go ahead and reward them with playing the game. And that changes due to the circumstances of the day. What I like to do on engine is I like to play the game first. What that does is it gets them in the circles that then they can use the sticks. So here's how I would do this one. They would discover it and go, yay! And then because we have played it in the past, this is not the first time, if it's my kindergarten or first grade, I'm probably going to play this in one big circle the first time. If they seem to handle that really well, then we'll go into small circles of equal number, or as close to equal number as I can. Second and third grade, I definitely go right to equal number small circles. And those equal number small circles are going to be, you know, 4 or 5 ideally, maybe 6. And the reason we're going to do that is we're going to be rotating, and I want everybody to kind of finish their circle at the same time and be ready to rotate to the next circle. Okay, so we have engine number 9. We're going to go to that. When now we play the game, we choose an engineer to begin each circle. So I have the kids. I'll switch my screen. There we go. So you can kind of see. So I have the kids hold their fist out like this, and they're on their knees, and everybody has their fist in front of them, and then the engineer is doing the same thing, but leaning out and touching the tops of the fist of each of the kids around the circle for playing engine. And, Will, I'm going to guess that you're still there, so, and if anybody else is watching that's part of the LilyPad, feel free to type into the Q&A, and I will invite you in so you can actually ask questions at this point. So, Will, you should have had something you can click on and join in if you'd like to do so. All right, so we play that game. I'm going to switch screens again. And we'll go to here. Almost. All right, here we go. So now we've played the game. One engineer goes around. When somebody is out, the person that just finished puts their hands behind their back, and the one that it landed on becomes the new engineer, and then we keep going. If the engineer is, when you get to the last person, or the last two people, they play between themselves and the last person, and then the last one to be left rotates to a new circle. And so we still have the feeling of elimination, but we also keep everybody involved. Now, again, depending on my circumstances, on my day, my situation, what I love to do is when a student is out in their circle, besides just putting their hands behind their back, they have a rhythm instrument that they get to pick up that's very close to them, because I don't want kids running around the room. I want to keep things moving. So I have instruments sitting beside each small group, and they pick up one instrument and they play the beat during the song while they're singing it. Engine, engine, number 9, going down the railroad line. If it's my second and third graders and they are ready for it, I will also, instead of a rhythm instrument that's not pitched, I will use a xylophone or a glockenspiel, and they will play the melody while we sing it. It's very easy to do because it's so many songs, so they can play that while we're singing. Then each time we pick a new engineer in that small circle, they rotate instruments. So there's something new happening for every child in that small circle every single time. All right, now we are going to get out. Hang on. All right, we finished. Everybody's moved to a new circle. They've had a good time. And now we are going to pull out the sticks. Now, this might be a point where you've ran out of time and you need to come back on another day. That's fine. The next day you come back in. You get to start with playing Engine, Engine. And then you pull out the sticks, or you pull out the sticks first, which is what I would probably do the most. We'd sing Hello to Freddie. Then I would pull out the sticks. I'd set a group of sticks down in the middle of the circle. They would be looking at that. And then they know we get to play the game again after we do our stick lesson. So there's so many ways you can do it. You just have to know your kids and know your circumstance, you know, whether they just came in from recess or end of the day or what's going on. So now we have the sticks out, we look at the song, and I ask, if I have a group of 4, I have each student do one of these boxes, and then we sing the song, starting with one person pointing at their rhythm while we sing it, and moving to person 2, pointing at box 2 as we sing it, and moving around till we get to box 4. So that's one way to do it. Then I might have them look at box number 1, and we would sing Engine, Engine, number 9, and then I ask the question, how could we change the melody of box 1? Again, we're pulling in a real critical thinking, and by going through this, they are really going to understand how music is put together, as well as developing the math practice standards, which also apply to music. So they would look at box 1 and say, well, how could we change it? And so the most obvious answer is they would say, oh, we could go me, me, so, so, me, me, me. Yes, let's do it. So I have them rearrange their sticks, and we all have box 1 in front of us, each student, but now it's opposite. It's an inversion. We can use those real words. Engine, engine, number 9. Oh, boys and girls, if we change that one, what do you think? Should we keep box 2 the same melody, or should we change it? Because which boxes are the same now? And the kids would look at it, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so what do you think? Should we, if we change box 1, should we also change box 2 and box 3 and keep that same pattern? And then just go with whatever they decide, and then everybody builds it, and then we sing it with the new version, and we just keep rolling with that. You can change lyrics. If you change lyrics, I highly suggest that you're changing either 9 in line or track and back. So a real easy one is to keep coming back to box 1. Okay, let's put it back the way it was. So it's so, so, me, so, so, so. All right, now, boys and girls, what if we changed what number the engine was? What other number could it be? And somebody will say 6. Okay, great. Engine number 6. Super. All right, do we need to change the rhythm? No, the rhythm can stay the same. Great. Let them come up with that. Now, if we change number 9 to number 6, I see a rhyming word. What word are we going to have to change in box 2? And then they would say line. Oh, okay, so what do we have to do? Let the kids tell you. It's full of questions. Oh, we have to change from 6, or from line to something that rhymes with 6. Let them come up with that. And so then the kids work together to come up with what that would be. Going down the railroad, whatever they come up with. They may say railroad sticks. Just roll with it as long as it's appropriate, and kids love to be silly, so that's okay too. If the train goes off the track, will I get my money back? All right, I think you have the idea. This can go on and on and on. Layers upon layers, and that's the beauty of it. It's really all about the questions and getting the kids involved, and continue trying different variations, and then the kids start to own it. And it's no longer a song that you had them do. Now it becomes a song that they have taken ownership of and had a lot of fun with it. So that is how I use those slides, and I use those sticks book. And in the sticks book, I was kind of limited in how much I could tell, so I'm kind of glad to have the opportunity to share how that works. Any questions with that so far? And
Sharon?
Yeah.
All I have to say is don't forget that when you start changing the lyrics,
Yes.
you're now diving into the language arts common core.
Definitely. Yes, exactly. Great point. It's now not just math, it's English language art. Yes. And if you're taking the common, which I think you are signed up to take the Common Core course, that's what we're going to look for all the time, are ways that we can use both of them. So thanks for bringing that up. For anybody that's brand new to this, this is an ideal time to hit both of those concepts at the same time. So great. Cool. Yeah, any other questions on that? Did that make sense to you, Will?
Yes, it did.
Okay, cool. All right. The other one that I had was We Are Playing in the Forest, and I'll just pop that up real quick. It's going to be essentially the same. And we can look at how it's different. Here we go. So you'll notice that the first screens are light blue, which I told you in the last time. Those are really designed for the teachers. And then the rest of them are going to look very familiar to you, because I just took out the engine. Whoops, I do have engine up. The wrong one. Let's try this one. Okay. We Are Playing in the Forest. It's going to look very similar because it's the same pattern. It's just really your questioning and how you run it. Notice here that it's not as obvious which one is different, so they have to look at that a little bit more. Goes through the same steps, chanting the boxes one by one, and then going into the melody. How are they different? And I added the extra boxes just to help jog your memory as well. But you can certainly take this to a whole new level. This is a So La So Mi song, so you have to prep them for that. And then we get to play the game. This one in the instructions, it talks about how to play it, but it's basically the kids love this, and it doesn't matter what age they are, they love this. One child gets to be at the front of the room, and I always spin a story to start this off. And I didn't include this story because it gets pretty text heavy, but here's how it goes. So there is a wolf that lives in a forest, in a village, outside a village, or the village is near the forest, and the Wolf lives in this castle, and the children of the village know that this is the best place to play is in the backyard of the wolf's castle. But that could be quite dangerous. So they sneakily go into his backyard and they watch for the wolf to come out because they know a secret about the wolf. The wolf has very poor eyesight. And if the wolf comes out on the balcony and he turns and looks into the forest of his backyard, if the children freeze, he just thinks they're a bush and turns around and goes back in. But if they forget to freeze, they're out. That sets the story. One child gets to be at the front of the room, turns facing away from the group of kids, sing the song, "We are playing in the forest, for the wolf is far away. Who knows what will happen to us if he finds us at our play?" And at the end of the song, he whips around, or she whips around, and looks at all the children, finds somebody that is wiggling. And I tell them, I make this rule, wolf, you cannot count if they blink, and you cannot count if they're breathing, if you see their stomach moving in and out. Any other wiggle, you can count. And I tell the boys and girls in the room, the wolf is the judge. If the wolf says you're out, you are out. If you argue with the wolf, you're out. So when they start to argue, it just say, you're out. Now, elimination games are always a little bit of an issue, so I always put in a twist that it still has the element of fun of a true game and the elimination, but that it takes away a little bit of the sting. So in this one, every wolf gets 2 turns to be a wolf, and when a child is out on that wolf's turn, they go and sit down in their seat. At the end of the wolf's second turn, then I say to the wolf, all right, look at somebody that's frozen still and pick one of them to take your place being the wolf. That also eliminates the kids jumping up and down with their hand in the air or getting in their face to be picked. They have to be frozen. So the wolf picks a new wolf, and whenever there's a new wolf that comes to the front, whoever was out is back in the game. So that keeps it going, still keeps the element of fun, and works well. All right, after we've played the game, we notate the boxes, we notate the sticks, we talk about how can we change the melody, let's sing it that way, how can we change the words, maybe it's not a wolf, maybe it's something different. So completely similar concept that you apply to all of them, and again, due to your circumstances, you change it around as you need it. So those are my sticks game. Now, if you are not new, or if you are new to Mysterious Wahoo and how to establish the stick rhythms for the first time, I actually saved that for the back part of this video clip. For those who are familiar with Mysterious Wahoo, they use sticks with their kids already, that's old stuff. I didn't want to bore you with that in the beginning. If you are brand new to that, then I will share what that looks like now. Because if you're not already using sticks with your kids, you are missing out on some great opportunities, not only for incorporating Common Core, but before I even had Common Core in my mind, I was using sticks to really internalize how rhythms look and what they mean, and for my assessment informally and formally. So I'm going to switch the screen one more time to what that looks like. And then you can see that is. So the first one of the other downloadable PowerPoints was the sticks introduction. So it starts off leading you through the Hello Freddy song. Then these are the games that are going to be used throughout May and probably into June, depending on your schedule and what's going on in your life. But these are the ones that I'll be including in lesson plans throughout May and June. So we've talked about Engine, and we've talked about We Are Playing in the Forest. So these are the others. So we try to play those before the day that they're going to have them in a mystery song. Do you remember this story? If they've never seen Mysterious Wahoo, it really is the easiest way to set up kids 4-stick rhythms, you don't even have to explain it. When the story is finished, they just get it because these birds use sticks when they create their rhythm patterns like this. So I would highly recommend doing that first. Then when the story is finished, we do a review. We talk about how many beats are in the rhythm pattern. Well, those are a lot of foreign words to the kids unless you've been using them already. So we talk about, all right, so Eli kept the beat. Part of you were doing that. We do a little role model of it. And the others were tapping the rhythm with Freddie. How many things were in every pattern? 4. So I established that as the baseline. That's going to be the norm. And then once it's really established, there'll be other days that we'll go, you know, normally there's 4 things in a rhythm pattern, but today there's going to be 3. But for a while, we just keep it at 4. That's how I approach it. Then we play this game, and the game is live right on the internet. So I'm going to flip to that so you can see what that looks like real quick. We don't need to do it for very long. But just in case this is new to you, I'll show you how it works. And screen sharing always takes longer than I want it to. Where did it go? All right, here we go. That probably just multiple screens here going on. And so, there we go. Sorry about that. That makes your eyes go crazy. All right. You won't have to do what I just did when you're using the PowerPoint, but due to the screen share system, it wouldn't allow me to go directly. So I go to the Freddy the Frog site. Oh, guys, sorry about that. Let me flip that again. It's not wanting to go. Hey, that looks better. All right, now at the Freddy the Frog site, the first page is going to look like this. Then you're going to click on Games. The game that goes with the specific book is underneath it, so we're going to click on the rhythm game. This will work on any projectable, smartboard, whatever. It will not work on an iPad if you're using iPads. And if you do have an iPad, then you need to download the Freddy the Frog app. Now we talked about, okay, there's 4 things in a rhythm pattern. So I asked a student to choose one thing to drag over and create a new rhythm pattern. Then we can click a tempo marking.
Andante.
I always use Andante. It's just something accessible for everybody.
Andante.
I have everybody find the beat by finding their shoulders by just a little up and down. If you don't want to hear that sound of the beat, which I prefer to have the rhythm, the kids say the rhythm pattern, I turn the volume down on that. And then we go ta, ta, ti, ti, ta, 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 ti, ti, ta. So everybody's tapping that. Then I have another child pick another one and say ta, ticka, ticka, ti, ti, ta, ta, ticka, ticka, ti, ti, ta. So you get the idea, you're going on and on. And that's how that works. And if you have a magnetic board, that's another great way to use it. It's very tactile. I like using the combination of both of them. So the magnetic board some days and that another day. After we have went through the game and they're very comfortable with that, or the magnet board, then we're ready for the sticks. And I want this foundation for my kids before we do the mystery songs. So this would have happened before the first mystery song that I was just sharing. And again, we're incorporating the questions that naturally incorporates the math. How many sticks does it take to make a ta? That's easy for them. They're going to say 1. So I say, how many sticks does it take to make a TT? They say 3. Can you count 3 sticks? Can you make a TT? And they pull them out and they count them. How many sticks does it take to make a sh or a quarter rest? And I put this picture in front of them because there's different ways you can make it. And they'll say 3. Great. Can you count 3 sticks? Make a TT again. How many sticks did it take? 3. How many sticks does it take to make a ticka ticka or 4/16 notes? And you're going to get a variety of answers. Most kids are either going to say 5 or 6 instead of telling them a right or wrong. So, all right, let's find out. How many sticks did you say you already have? 3. Excellent. So if you add 2 more sticks, put them up and down in the middle. 3 plus 2 is 5. Or if you take 2 and add it to 3, you have 5. Add 1 more stick across the top, and you lead this through. Did that look right? No. All right, what do we need? We need 1 more sticks. Okay, so how many sticks did it take to make it 6? So that's just full of questions, but you really have to flow with what your kids are doing and how they're responding to you. Now we're going to create sticks to compose rhythm patterns. And how many things are in a rhythm pattern, boys and girls? 4. Great. Now the light blue slide, again, is only for the teacher, so I would not be showing this to the children. So I would say, all right, I'm going to chant a rhythm pattern. Wait until I'm finished, and then see if you can notate it with your sticks. And then I say, ta, ta, ti, ti, ta. And then they get busy and make their pattern. Somebody in your class will make this pattern almost every time. This is the #1 reason I always use sticks. Even though they've seen it the right way, even though they've been to the story, even if you did the magnet board, even if you did the game, for some reason when they go to write it and they have the sticks in their hands, for some kids, they have been envisioning that T equals a whole set. So I let that student build this. So you have a circle of kids on the floor. They each have ta, ta, ti, ti, ta on the floor in front of them, except a child or two who has written it this way. I don't say a word to them yet. I put on that rhythm track that you just heard at the internet site, the andante, boom, da, da, dum, dum, dum. And then I have the kids starting with their fingers. Okay, point to the far left side, which, by the way, when you're doing this with kindergarten, this is an English language art skill of reading from left to right. So you can count that as well. And I want them to chant. I ask them to chant and point ta, ta, ti, ti, ta. Now your student who wrote it like you see in front of you is going to instantly realize that something's not quite right because his arm or her arm isn't moving back and forth at the same time as everybody else, and is going to kind of look around, and that's the moment that I come in very quietly while everybody else is busy chanting, repeating this over and over. And then I just quietly take away that one set so it looks correct, move the child's hand, and now it fits, and it will be the last time they ever think that a TT looks like what you see in front of you. So that's the #1 reason I do that. Again, just quietly remove it, and it brings nothing. They're not embarrassed. Nobody noticed it. They were all busy. Now when it's dark blue, it's for students. What other pattern can you make with 6 sticks? Now we're really digging into music making at the same time as math. What rhythm pattern can you compose with 9 sticks? Let them think about it, and let them create their own pattern with only 9 sticks, no more, no less. They'll come up with a variety. They love to make ticka-tickas, so that's why I included one. But you can choose whatever you want. After everybody's secure in that, then we go into patterns. Music is made up of patterns. How could we make an A-B pattern with our stick rhythms? Now, anybody that's watching this video is probably doing the same things your kids will. You will be thinking about it in a variety of ways, and that's exactly what we want. So some kids will make an A-B pattern by placing ta, ti, ti, ta, ti, ti, or some arrangement like that, and making their own A-B pattern within them. Some other kids will go, oh, I know what we can do. I can make one pattern that looks like this and a different pattern, and they will actually get more sticks, and they'll make a 4-count pattern that looks one way, like a ta, ta, ti, ti, ta, and a B pattern that might be ta, ta, ticka, ticka, ta. Yet another student will think, oh, wait a minute, I can make one pattern, and my neighbor could make something else for an A-B pattern. What's the wonderful part about this is that this has opened up the opportunity for a wonderful critical thinking, critical argument in the positive senses, in the math practices sense, discussion. So here's the different ways. Then we go into melody, and now we transfer from not just chanting patterns, but how can we make a melody with their pattern? Somebody creates a melody, and then we go around the circle singing or chanting each person's pattern, and then the whole class echoing. Then we go around singing the melody and echoing the melody. So there's just a ton of ways. This is where these are all coming from, and that Shawnee Preston Howlander was granted permission to share a few of these lessons to help everybody get started. So and to make more sense of it. All right, I think that's a good place for me to stop. If anybody is just watching and you have a Q&A question to ask me, please do so. If you're not sure how to go about that, you can certainly email me at sharon@freddythefrog.com, and I'll watch for that email right now. And I'm guessing most of you are having a great time on Mother's Day. And so, and Will, if you have any questions or additional comments that jog in your mind, then feel free to pop them in. That'd be great. All right. Have a great week. I'm going to be posting Lesson 61. Should be able to go up by tomorrow morning. If you're one of the interested people in the Common Core course, you should have received the pre-work materials, information that you need to gather up before school is out, so you'll be ready for the course. And now that we know for sure we are having a course, you can also invite others or let them know that it's definitely happening. And as long as we had 12, then we can have it. The number of people that can be in a course is pretty unlimited. We could go up without any issues. So anyway, have a wonderful, wonderful week, and I'll see you next time. Bye.